right, well, it's 12:02. I know that we have more people that will go ahead and be joining us as we continue. And as you guys join, and I'll kind of say this again so we get a good group, if you want to throw in the chat where you're from, the organization you're from, and just where you're based out of, kind of helpful for us as we continue to get people on here so that you guys know who else is joining you and maybe even who else in your town is looking at doing South Dakota Day of Giving. So before we get started, I'll introduce myself. My name is Nora Leinen. I'm with the South Dakota Day of Giving campaign. This is my second year with the SD Gives and really excited to be getting into the 2025 season. I don't believe that September existed this year, so it is headlong into October. Which means that December 2nd, which is the Day of Giving, December 2nd, is coming up fast. But I'm based here in Rapid City. So hopefully I get all of my Mountain and Central times right. If I don't, never fear and let me know. But we know that we've got people from across the state. We do have about 250 people already registered for the Day of Giving, which is really exciting. Thank you guys all for being here today. This is the 101 training. And we're excited to have you. I do have a friend with me here today who's going to help me with the training. Eric, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hey, everybody. My name is Eric McDowell. I'm with the NewMed Group who partners really closely with South Dakota Gives on the Day of Giving. Before Nora came on, I had the chance to manage the Day of Giving season, the communications, the emails, and social media account for a couple of years. So really glad to be back and hearing from you all what's on your minds and questions you have and ideas. So thanks, Nora.
Yeah, I think everything I know about Day of Giving, I think I learned from Eric. So if I can't answer it, hopefully together we can help. Eric, are we seeing my screen okay? Just to double check. Okay, great. Well, we'll go ahead and get started. Again, I know we've got people joining us, which is awesome. Again, this is Day of Giving 101. So we are going to do just some of the logistics of the Day of Giving. Again, the Day of Giving, we do South Dakota Day of Giving on Giving Tuesday. And this year that falls on December 2nd, 2025. So make sure you've got that on your calendar. Registration is open now. Registration is 100% free. You can find our registration at sdgives.org. There should be a little thing that pops up and says register here. If you have questions with any of that, never hesitate to reach out at hello@southdakota.gives.org for questions about registration or really anything about the Day of Giving in SD Gives. We'll mention that several times, but hello@southdakota.giving or southdakota.gives.org is where you can reach us. Registration is going to be open now through October 24th. So it's October 1st. We have 24 more days. We'll talk about some of the benefits of registration as we go through this training. But if you're not registered, we really encourage you to do so. Again, it's completely free. And you just get some access to some really cool things as well. So some of the nuts and bolts, just as we go through, any 501c3 in South Dakota is eligible to join us. So we do want you to be a South Dakota nonprofit. I think everybody who signed up is a South Dakota nonprofit, but we're really emphasizing giving to South Dakota on this day. That's what we're all about, is keeping things local, keeping things with the state. So 501c3 organizations, if you're joining today and you're a 501c4, 501c6, something like that, reach out at hello@southdakota.gives.org and let's talk about how we can still get you involved in the campaign. We've got lots of options for you. So just let us know, but want you to have 501c3 or have a partner and we can help you figure that out. So one of the benefits of registration is being eligible for prizes. We'll talk a little bit about prizes at the end of the training today. But that's one of the big things, that you do have to be registered to be eligible for those prizes. Again, completely free. One of the things that we really want to emphasize and to get you thinking about as you start thinking about your campaign, how you're going to communicate your campaign, how you're going to get things set up, is a reminder that all the donations for South Dakota Day of Giving go directly to you. So we do not collect any of those donations and then send them back out. We do not take a cut of any of your donations. We encourage people to donate to your organization in whatever way you usually collect donations. So if you've got an online portal, great. If you usually have people send checks, great. make sure that it's just however you guys usually take donations, and then make sure you're telling people how you get those donations so that they know how to donate to you on the day or during the season. So they are going directly to you. As you register, you'll be asked to give us a URL or sometimes at the Facebook. I do encourage you to perhaps put your donor page on there, or at least the page that leads to a way to donate. Because if people are looking on our website for participants in the Day of Giving, they're going to click on your logo, and then that'll lead them to whatever page you want them to. So the donation page, it's really easy for people to look at. We talk about donations on Day of Giving, but the Day of Giving is really so much more than that. We'll get into that in just a second, but a lot of our emphasis on Day of Giving is raising awareness about the nonprofits. What do you do? What your mission is? What impact you have on your community? So again, as you start thinking about your Day of Giving campaign, what we really want to kind of keep front of mind is, how does your community know what you do? Does your community know what you do? How are ways that you can continue to educate people about your mission, and kind of bringing that first and foremost and sort of front and top of mind? Because I think that's going to be a great starting point for engaging any of your volunteers, your donors, or just advocates in your community. Another just sort of plug for SD Gives, we do have an online toolkit. So again, sdgives.org is going to lead you to everything you need to know. There is an online toolkit that has worksheets that you can work through with yourself, with your board, with your staff. We've got different ideas about the campaign. We've got a ton of graphic resources. So if you need a logo, if you want a Facebook banner, if you need different pieces to pull in and integrate into any of the communication you're doing, you're going to find all of that at sdgives.org under the toolkit and graphic resources. So lots of great things to go there. It's another benefit of getting registered and joining the campaign as well. So lots to do. And then we'll also continue to have more trainings after this. So this is our 101, and you'll have more chances to tune in for a few other items that we want to make sure and get information to you about. What we do, what SD Gives does, is we're here, we're sort of your hype man. We're in the back. We're promoting everything you guys do. As you get posts on social media, it is a big social media campaign, but I know Eric's going to talk about different ways that you can communicate what you're doing. We are going to like, we are going to share, we are going to comment. I'm going to do as many gifts as I can before Facebook tells me I can't do any more gifts. So our goal here as SD Gives is to get really loud about the nonprofit community in South Dakota. And we're doing that by helping to promote anything that you guys are doing, giving you guys tools, giving you guys ideas, working through any issues that you have. And on the back end, we're working with some great partners to hopefully get some just hype out in the community about South Dakota Day of Giving, so that people in your community in towns across the state know that it's South Dakota Day of Giving. And while it is Giving Tuesday, the best way that they can impact their community is by giving to the nonprofits right in their area. So that's what we're doing on the South Dakota Give side, working hard to make sure they know that you guys are doing the Day of Giving campaign as well. Any questions on logistics, nuts and bolts? We'll also do questions at the end. I know we've got a lot of people on here. Again, it's great to see so many people join us today. It's exciting. If you're new to the training, if you want to put who you are, who you're with, and maybe where you're based out of in the chat, we've just kind of been collecting those so that people know where everybody's from. You can also throw questions in the chat. I'll try to be monitoring that as we go along. So getting started, I mentioned this a little bit, Giving Tuesday, South Dakota Day of Giving, the word giving is in there a lot. We know that what comes to people's mind first and foremost is a donor campaign and a fundraising campaign, and that's great. If that's what you'd like to put your Day of Giving efforts around, excellent. We'll talk through some ideas and some tools for that as well. However, we really want you to think maybe a little bit outside of that as well. The Day of Giving is fast. The Day of Giving is one day. We have days leading up to it, but it is an urgency campaign. So it is not going to replace your annual campaign. It is not going to raise all of the money that you need for the year. It is, really fast, short time to get in front of people, get in front of your community, tell them what you do, tell them what you need, tell them about the impact that you make. So some people are going to run a Day of Giving campaign that is really focused on just creating awareness. What is your mission? Who do you serve? What are the solutions that you're bringing to the table? We have lots of people that really just focus on making sure that their community knows who they are. And that can be really powerful on the day of giving, especially with all the noise that's going on there. There's lots of giving. If you can get more people signing up to a newsletter, following you on Facebook, keeping an eye on what you're doing in your community, that's a huge win on the day of giving. So some people will look at just creating awareness. Some people will certainly do fundraising campaigns, and that's great. Again, we'll talk a little bit more about some specifics and tips and tricks about how to make that successful. Some people are going to use that awareness and they're going to take those new newsletter signups I get, because that's identifying new donors. So I like to think of it a little bit about finding new advocates in your community. Who's in your community that you didn't know loves your organization? Who in your community didn't know that you existed and go, that mission really speaks to me? Those are people that you want to collect on Day of Giving. So if you're collecting funds, if you're collecting Facebook followers, emails, volunteers, make sure that you're grabbing those people and continuing to follow up with them after the Day of Giving. These are new people on your side. This is a great way for you to get board members, new donors, and just sort of increase that impact and awareness within your community. Again, maybe you want to grow a social media following so that you are getting that information out more often. Maybe volunteers. This can be a really powerful time to get new people on your volunteer list. You know, it's the Day of Giving, it's December 2nd, but what can we do with this hype into the next year? So next year, do you need more people to walk dogs? Do you need more people to deliver food? What do you need in your organization? This would be a great time, again, to find out who the people in your community are raising their hands and saying, hey, this mission is really cool, bringing them into the fold and getting them to help volunteer with your organization next year as well. So as you're thinking about all those options, creating awareness, fundraising, volunteers, what we really see when people are successful for the Day of Giving is setting a specific goal. So when I do worksheet presentations and we start working through, I feel like the first thing everyone wants to put down on their goal is raise money. Great. That's the goal all the time, is to raise money. That's awesome. And again, that can be your goal. But the more specific your goal is on the Day of Giving, the more successful we really feel that will be. And that's because you may be hitting a lot of people who are new to your organization, or you may be hitting people who are new to giving. You know, they might not have given or have a habit of giving in their lives, or they may feel that they can only give $20, or they can only give their time, or they can only give a set of toiletries to the shelter, but they want to give. If you have a specific goal that's really attainable and tangible for those people who are just tuning in on December 2nd, that gives them a way to see how they can be involved and see their impact immediately. So you don't want them to say, oh, I could give $20, but what's that going to do? That's okay. If you want 10 new donors to give $50 a piece, 10 new donors to give $20 a piece, those small, really digestible asks for people on Giving Tuesday is a way for them to say, oh, I don't know if I can sit down and give this big chunk or think about this in a larger sense, but I know I can give this today. And I know I can impact this today because you're telling me how I can impact you today. And then you take those names and hopefully continue to follow up with them. Another specific goal you could think about is targeting your board members. We all love our board members. We all know that they're very important. We all know that all of our board members say, I don't want to fundraise because that's who they are. I'm on boards and we hear that all the time. This is a great day to give a really tangible way that your board can impact. You know, I think it's because fundraising and the idea of support can be this sort of big, scary thing at an organization. The Day of Giving is a great day to bring that and put that into bites that your board can see. And so maybe they are each given a fundraising goal. Maybe they're each finding a volunteer for you. Maybe they're each making a video and telling somebody about why they're a board member. All of these things are important and great ways for your board to get involved. And they're specific. So your board says, well, I'd love to help with fundraising, but I don't know what to do. Give them a specific task. This is a great way to do it because of the urgency. Matching gifts can be really powerful on the day of giving. The day of giving already has an urgency around it, right? It's a day, or it's leading up to the day. So it's in the weeks by a day. It sort of has a deadline attached to it. Not that you won't take gifts outside of that, but it's already got this built-in urgency. A matching gift can really capitalize on that as well. So maybe this is a time that you've got a board member that says, hey, I could do a matching gift, or the company that I work for could do a matching gift. And it doesn't have to be $100,000. It can be $1,000. It can be a small amount that then you're bringing in those new donors who are going, oh, I can double give my gift today. I can only give $20 on Giving Tuesday, or I've got $100 to give and I've got 5 organizations that I love. I want to give $20. That $20 is $40 now. And so it doesn't have to be a huge goal or a huge matching gift, but it can increase that urgency and it can help those people on Giving Tuesdays prioritize who they're going to support and say, oh, hey, if I give $20 to them, it's $40. And that's going to help you get to that matching gift. So this can be a great time to solicit that. Think about who's already on your side, who's on your board, who's already potentially going to make a gift during this time. Talk to them about that and say, hey, can we make it a matching gift so that we can help motivate others? Again, it does not have to be about money. In fact, some of the most successful campaigns are going to be just about volunteer raising, about awareness raising. So maybe it is we need 10 more people to say, I want to volunteer next year. Maybe it's you want to increase your Facebook followers so that when you do your annual campaign or when you put out your gala in the spring, you're reaching more people. So lots of different ideas to think about, but I think, again, really making those specific goals can be extremely helpful, not only for you so that you can understand and measure your success, but for your donors and for your audience so that they understand how they're impacting your organization. I did ask, I know we've got Shayna from Borderlands on here. I sort of picked on her a little bit earlier this week. They've done Day of Giving with us, and I just wanted to throw it out to you about the goals that you've had, if you would be willing to share about goals that Borderlands has had in the past and maybe what you guys are cooking up for this year.
Sure. Well, mostly our goal is always to create awareness and to gain more followers. So that's has been our goal in the past, and actually that's going to be our goal for this year as well.
Yeah, no, that's great. And you guys, I feel like, have done it really by highlighting each of the horses that you board. So if you guys aren't familiar with Borderlands boards horses who are older and need a place to go for the end of life. And I know that you guys have really focused on sort of, hey, one horse at a time, and use that as some of your Facebook followers to really increase that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen it work? Have you seen increase in people following your page?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely a slow rolling thing.
Yeah.
We're kind of under the radar on a lot of the things that we do. I hear a lot, oh, I never heard of you before, but the Day of Giving actually really helps to increase our followers and just the awareness itself of what we do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for sharing that. And, you know, that's what it is you're not necessarily, again, you're not going to get all the money you need for the year in one day. You're not going to get every Facebook follower that you get in one day. But if you get 10 more that day, then that's 10 more people who then have a whole group of friends on social media who hopefully will also see that they're liking your page as well. So doing some of that initial, hey, creating awareness can be something that can continue to snowball throughout the year as well. Some other things that I think I've seen work really well is looking at maybe in-kind donations too. So if you are a domestic violence shelter, I've seen people say, hey, we want shampoo bottles or diapers or something that is an actual tangible item, and doing a tangible drive that day. Humane Society, sometimes I see do food drives that day. Again, it can be a great way for someone who maybe not be in the habit of giving or want to spread their love on Giving Tuesday, but not sure how to have an impact, that can say, oh, I can go pick up a bag of dog food, you know, and that is a really great way to get someone really excited about your day. I'm going to kick it over to Eric now for a little bit more about communicating your campaign and some thoughts about different ways to reach people.
Sure. Well, really, no matter what goal you choose for your campaign or what type of goal you want to build your campaign around, communications is going to be really central, not only on the day of giving, but throughout the season that Nora is describing, from now up until December 2nd, communications is a really important focus. There's a lot of reasons to reach out. We'll talk about some of those specifically that are built into the day of giving season, but you need to let people know that you're doing this, that it's important to you. Let them know what you hope to get out of it, what your goal is. You may need to do some of that education and awareness building about your mission, your programs, your impact. You will want to be sharing updates and progress along the way. You want to be celebrating success. All of those things are, coming through in communications that you're putting out to your audiences. And I think it works best when you're communicating through the channels that you already use to reach those audiences. People are plugged in to certain places where they know where they're going to hear from you, whether that's your quarterly newsletter that shows up in the mailbox, an event that you have during the fall or, around Day of Giving, just your website, your emails that you send out, your social media presence, any of those things. And all of them are great tools to communicate around the Day of Giving campaign that you put together. But you don't need to, invest in a new tool just for this purpose. And, you want to go where the audience is, where the audience knows that you're going to show up, where they expect to hear from you. All those things are important to think about because this is, as Nora said, a kind of special day of the year, a special campaign. You may want to think about, is there a special communication that you can layer on top of those things that you're already doing? So maybe the Day of Giving is showing up in your November newsletter, that goes out every November, but you're also making phone calls that you don't usually make, or having a gathering or event specific to the Day of Giving. So you can help make that noise and make that splash about your campaign through a new tool or a new channel that maybe is a little bit out of the routine for you. Nora, would you mind going to the next slide here? So when, we often talk about using communications to reach your audience, but really we know that you have a variety of audiences, and especially when we're thinking about donors and donor segments, there may be different messages and different tools that you want to use to communicate to those different segments. So here on the slide, we just, in broad strokes could look at the folks who are closest to your mission, your major donors, your primary partners, whether those are corporate sponsors or your board members, longtime donors, things like that. You have your current donor base, and then depending on your goals, you would have that audience that you don't already kind of have plugged in. They aren't maybe signed up to your communications. They don't know about you, or they don't know everything about you. And those are the audiences that you're hoping to use the Day of Giving campaign to reach in a better way. So thinking back to some of those goals that Nora was outlining a few slides ago, you may want to be having special communications to your board members or your major donors around, if we frame a campaign around this goal and around this, amount of funds we'd like to reach, would you consider making a lead gift of X, or coming back into the end of the campaign to help us finish it off, put up a matching gift? So those communications are certainly going to be the most personalized that you would put out around the Day of Giving. These are based on your long relationships with your major donors or your primary stakeholders, what is motivating and interesting to them, what they might be willing and able to do to support the campaign. And those communications would be things like phone calls or visits, or, again, just individualized and personalized. Whereas communications that go out to your current donors may be a little less individualized and personalized. a bulk email that goes out to, dozens or hundreds of people on your donor list. And, you're still thinking about what are the messages that you want to use to reach the folks who are already interested or passionate about your mission, who have already supported in the past. So maybe that's just re-engaging them around making a difference again this year, or a difference in a different way. Kind of leveraging the past interest they've had and past contribution they've made to support you in a different way, or in an additional way. Or maybe they're the ones who are helping you reach that new audience by helping build awareness with people who may not know you, or inviting others to show up to an event or to make a gift on the day of giving. There's lots of important ways that you might want to think about the messages and tools that you would use to reach your current donors. And then those new donors, or prospective donors, I guess, they may not be signed up to your newsletter, or may not be already following you on social. And so that's where, if that's what your goal is, to reach those people, you want to be thinking about the tools and messages that may be most appropriate there. So maybe there are different ways that you want to use social media to, interact with your peers across the state, to kind of show up. We all know that the algorithms are tricky, but show up on other people's pages and feeds who may not already follow you. Or you may be thinking about the need to educate this audience in a way that you don't need to educate the current donors or the major donors. There's a bullet here about helping win a prize. Again, back to that sense of urgency or occasion. There are ways to use the day of giving and the components of it to just generate a lot of interest and urgency around a specific goal, or smaller goal, like a prize, to get the attention of new audience members. So I was just about done with that one, but just be thinking about how the goals that you want to set may align with the different communications tools that you have at your disposal and the different audiences that you want to reach. As far as communication activities go, maybe a little bit of repeat here, but just one of the things that I love about the Day of Giving and the whole season is that there's a lot of ready-made opportunities to engage your audiences and to be in touch with them. So from the beginning of announcing your participation to introducing your campaign goals, to providing updates, impact stories along the way, or making special announcements, whether that is, we're going in for this contest or this prize and we need your help in this way. We have a sponsor who has stepped up to make a matching gift or an in-kind gift that we want to highlight. We're almost at our goal. Let's get across the finish line, things like that. There's great occasions to be in touch throughout the Day of Giving season and on the day and after the day. We don't always talk about that, but an important piece of the communications opportunity around the Day of Giving. An important point here that we like to emphasize is that it's okay to communicate more than you may think you need to. When you're the one doing it, it can feel like too much or overwhelming. But we know that not everybody's going to see what you put out, and that even if they do, it takes some repetition to really sink in and register. So, this is the time to be loud and to be bold on social media, to send an additional email, or think about how many emails you can get out. We can't always communicate as often as we would like to, on the other hand, but when Nora is building the registration list and building up to the Day of Giving, I think you're probably sending at least one email a week. You're on social media every day. You have to kind of drive hard at it. So more is often better on the Day of Giving if you can do it. And then just thinking about calls to action, you want to use your communications to prompt the people who receive them to do something that's helpful to you. And in many cases, and on the day, that may be make a gift, but you want to think about what are other things that you would ask the audiences whose attention you can get to do could be as simple as sharing a link, watching a video, responding to a question that you post, following on social media, any number of things. But it's important to think, who am I who am I reaching, what tool am I using, and what do I want them to do now that I've got their attention? So we don't want that piece to be lost in the day of giving communications. Down the bottom here, just kind of to reiterate that, you have tools that you're already using. So think to those first when you're thinking about how you're going to communicate around your campaign. And then as you think through those audiences that you want to be engaged, you can engage them in different ways too, by really bringing them into the communications that you're going to put out, whether that's soliciting testimonials or stories, helping use their voice to advocate on behalf of your missionary campaign, get their ideas for how you can reach those audiences, and that just builds a really it's a great tool for building engagement. And people often have the most compelling stories and the best ideas who are already in your audiences. So don't be afraid to lean on and invite in everybody in your audiences. Nora, I think that's our slides on communications, but I would be curious to poll, those of you who have done campaigns in the past, or just ask if anyone's willing to share communication successes that they've had, or a strategy that you've tried in the past or that you're going to try this year. Anyone willing to just give a real world example?
We could call on Jen. She might be willing to tell us. Jen, what has Presentation Sisters done in the past? I know you guys have had some fun posts.
Sorry, I got a phone call as the question was asked. What was the question again?
Oh, we were just talking about sort of using the people in your network to tell the story and to help with some of your communications. I know you guys have had some fun social media posts in the past, but also I know you guys have some other ways of communicating. Would you just share a little bit about a couple of things that you've done in the past?
Yeah, so we're fortunate that we have a team of 4 from mission development. And I would say one thing too, I know that, the contest can change from year to year, but one thing that we do, keep all of our past posts and pictures from past years in case it would work to utilize them again. I mean, we're all about recycling, reusing, when there's so many things to do, to try and use those for future years is always nice. But one thing we've done, I think we've used it probably 2 or 3 years in a row, is we have a picture of our staff like sleeping at their desks at the end of the day. And so we always share that one. It's kind of, gets a lot of laughs and engagement. So that's a fun one.
That's great. What a great point too, Jen, about reusing things, whether it's from last year or whether it's things that you've done this year already. If you are an economic development agency and you have done 10 ribbon cuttings this year, share those again, show people that this is what the impact that you've made this year. It doesn't have to be everything is brand new. We all are really busy, and we know that can be a busy time. So what do you have in your pocket sort of that you can already share out as well?
See, Ashley, you have a hand up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did Giving Tuesday long time ago when it first started. And something I did is I was really creative, and I used a lot of animals in my post. At that time, I was actually for the Rapid City Lions Club, and I had a bearded dragon that I had little glasses for. Something I'm also thinking of doing is I'm thinking of actually live streaming our events, our Giving Tuesday, because, it's the new thing now. A lot of people like TikTok and all the stuff. So something I would like to try is live streaming and really getting to the people who
are the newer generation.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that, right? Because it's you're sort of like live streaming. It's the day. It holds into that urgency, right? Like, hey, we're doing this right now. We're here. Yeah, I think that could be a really cool idea. Absolutely, absolutely. Any other people with thoughts about what they are thinking about doing, or things that have worked in the past, similar communication? All right, so keep cruising. That was great. Thank you, Erica, on some awesome ways to communicate. I love that also don't forget to tell people often. That's kind of what I always start with is like, don't forget to tell people you're doing Day of Giving, which seems obvious, but I think one of those things that is just important to say. If people don't know what you're doing, you don't tell them several times beforehand. They may not know that that's what your goal is or that's what you're doing for the Day of Giving. So as we go, keep going forward, I want to talk a little bit about board and leadership. And again, this is something that we talked a little bit about before, but it's a really great day to engage your board. It's a really great day to understand about how they can give just a tangible impact to your goal. Again, I think board members, they want to help. They're invested in your mission. They show up to your board meetings. They care about what you do. This is a great day to say, that's great. Can you do X, Y, and Z for me this day, and give them a tangible piece? So have a day of kickoff with your board. Let your board know that you're doing Day of Giving. Make sure that they are telling people about the Day of Giving. Make sure they know what your goal is, and maybe include them in figuring out what your goal is. They can be, if they help you set that goal, they may be even more invested in helping you meet that goal as well. So if you give them, again, a specific goal that you're working towards, it's a lot easier for them to understand how they can make an impact towards that as well. Some ideas, matching funds. Your board can be a great place to find a matching partner, whether it's your board members themselves, people they work for, businesses they own, or friends that they have that they're ready to bring in on the mission that know that they're involved. So they can be a great place to start. Yes, I can definitely get to, sorry, Jen, I see your ask about getting a copy of the slide deck. We can definitely get that headed your way too. So, and again, we will get a recording out too. So, but other things that they can do is social sharing. I think some of the times our board members sit on our boards and they come to our meeting once a month, every other month, and they never tell their friends that they're on this board. They never tell the people that they see every day that this is something that they're spending their time with. This is a great way to ask your board members to share that. Whether it's them sharing these things personally with somebody to get on board, or whether or not they're willing to be part of your hype. Please, will you take a video? I'm going to take a video. Give me 3 sentences about why you serve on this board. Give me just a real quick about why this mission is important to you. We'd love to share this out. And then for you to share that out with your network too. Again, I think we forget, we know we show up to board meetings, but how often are they really sharing that with the people in their network and can really spread your mission? Consider, again, peer-to-peer fundraising. Maybe they've got somebody in their network that they say, hey, come on, I'm going to give on this day, or I'm going to sign up to volunteer this day. How can they help really motivate those networks, again, for those tangible goals that you're setting? If you're going to do an in-person event, make sure your board members can come, invite them to them, have them invite people to. So if you decide to do an in-person event, make sure that you're getting those board members on board early on. Making sure they know to get it on their calendars and again, share it out with their networks as well. And then thanking your board members, celebrating success, using your board members to thank people on the Day of Giving is a great way that I like to do that too. Sometimes board members, again, get a little bit scared about the fundraising piece. Ask them to say thank you. That's a great way to say, hey, let's reach out on the Day of Giving. Thank you for being a part of our mission. Maybe it's a phone call, maybe it's a personalized message. That's a great way to get your board members involved. Again, that's tangible, something that they can easily do. You guys can do it together. It's just a great way to get them involved. I have another plant too. I asked Paula maybe to share a little bit about engaging boards too, and just some thoughts about maybe how they've done that in the past as well.
Yeah, I love all the things that you've shared, and so many of them are easy for board members to participate in. But I would go back even further in your year as an organization and make South Dakota Day of Giving a strategic part of your fundraising plan and your strategy plan for your organization, right? Whether your goal is raising awareness and telling your story of impact, or it's about raising money, and being specific about a project maybe that you're working on for that year. Start that planning when you're doing your strategy work at the beginning of your calendar year. And it just becomes automatic. So I serve on the Leadership South Dakota board. We definitely include it in our annual conversations. And I have done a lot of the things that Nora talked about there. I've done videos. I obviously give financially every year. I have participated in in-person events. I have, written thank you notes, all of those things. But I think a key part of that is, especially if your board is apprehensive, is give them a menu of ways that they can participate in South Dakota Day of Giving. And then have them select how they would like to participate. That creates, number one, an expectation that they will participate in some way. It allows them to tell you how they want to participate. And it just includes them and some might do multiple things around your South Dakota Day of Giving. I want to tell one story. When early on, when I've been involved with South Dakota Day of Giving, I heard a story about an executive director. It was their first year of doing South Dakota Day of Giving, and one big goal, because that's part of your impact reporting afterwards, was to have 100% of the board members give. She had one board member who had been on the board for multiple decades and never given anything to the nonprofit organization that he served. And so her big goal that day was to get him to give. And she walked into his office and she made a personal ask, and he gave $10, his first ever contribution to the organization. And that was a day of success. So we all may have one of those board members on our boards that say, I give my time. I don't need to give financially, but somehow make it a part, to help the group become cohesive, to say, we believe that 100% of our board should give. Our board at Dakota Resources actually has a policy for annual giving. And it's an expectation when they come on the board that they give. It can be $5. We don't care about the amount.
No, that's great. Yeah, thanks, Paul. I love that story. I think it's so powerful. Like you said, it could be the first time. And we do still have, every year we do a prize. If you're 100% of your board gives, you let us know that, and then you are entered into a contest to potentially match what your board gave. And it's for that purpose right there. We know that they believe in your mission. They show up, they give time. How can we get them to give a little bit more, or to understand the impact of showing up in a different way? And I think that can be really powerful on the Day of Giving, especially with that urgency. Again, you can use that contest. That's a great way. Blame South Dakota Gives for it. We'll take it if it gets them to give. So I love too, Paula. And if you guys are following the chat, she put a comment in there about Assisting Community Foundation. They do a great job. Their board chooses a theme every year. I think last year was superheroes. And so they got really into that and can kind of really get their board involved in a lot of their asset building as well for the day. It just looks like a blast, like their board's having a blast, taking those pictures, dressing up and getting involved too. So I'm glad you pointed that out there. They do a great job. Absolutely. So we're getting down. We got about 15 minutes left, but there are a few things that I just want to reiterate and talk about again as you're thinking about your Day of Giving campaign. And we will try to save a few minutes for some sharing and some questions as well. But my big thing is don't overthink it. I think we hear a lot at the South Dakota Day of Giving that it's a lot, it's overwhelming, or it's another thing that we're doing. You're already doing a lot that can be used for South Dakota Day of Giving, that can be worked into what you're doing. Again, what are the pictures that you've taken throughout the year about your impact? You've been doing great work all year. Reuse some of that. Highlight that again. Show people that again for the Day of Giving. It doesn't have to all be brand new. Use who's already in your corner. Use your leadership. Use your board members. Sometimes I see people just do short interviews with their staff. Your staff's there every day. Take a quick video. Why does your receptionist work for you? I bet it's not because of, the pay in nonprofits. It's probably because that receptionist loves the organization and feels the impact of the work that they do every day, because we know that they are the ones who keep the office running, and we can't do that work without them. So why are they working there? But then also thank you to those people who are right already in your network. Doesn't have to be brand new, doesn't have to be something that is a reach. Eric talks a lot about where are they already finding you. So if you have a newsletter, if you have a Facebook page, if you have X, Y, or Z, use those things. Use the things that you're already using to get your message out. Tell people where they expect to find you. And then tell them often, hey, we're doing Day of Giving. Tell them now. It's October 1st. We're 2 months away from the Day of Giving. We're going to do this campaign. We're getting hyped up. Let them know now that that's what's going on. And then, who's going to share your message? Again, don't overthink it. You have people in your corner. Even if sometimes you feel like you're a person of one, sometimes you are a staff member of one. But you've got people in your corner. You've got people who support your mission. Go to them first. They're here to help be your hype man, help get your word out, help build awareness. Like Paula said, if you get one board member who's never donated, donate $10 that day. That's a success. It's all about who can we bring on board to your mission for the Day of Giving today. So I think it can be a great place to do some urgency, and again, just reuse some of those things that you have. And then going forward, if you do create new assets for Day of Giving, if you do something for a prize, that's a really cool video or something like that, don't throw it in the trash after the Day of Giving. Use it next year. Use it after the first of the year. Use it during something you're doing next year. And I think that's something, we do our prizes and some of that content around best practices. Take that and then reuse that. We want them to be tools in your tool belt. Heidi, I see I have a question about content catches attention for prizes and your one employee. We will do on October 15th a whole prize pool training. It should be on our social media. We've sent it out via email, but if you don't have an email, hello@southdakotagives.org, and I'll get you the form to sign up that training. That'll be October 15th as well, to get really more into those prizes. Most of the prizes are random. So if you enter, you're entered and you have just as much chance as everybody else. Again, we'll go through some of the logistics on that prize pool training. But really, we want to talk about content that's going to get your donors. So thinking about your impact, thinking about what stories you can tell, pictures, videos, those types of things. We'll also look at doing a little bit more of training on specifically social media here later in the giving season too. So keep an eye out for that. That we'll definitely talk about content creation and do some brainstorming about what you can do for your individual organization that's going to make people understand and get the story that you're trying to tell too. So yeah, raising awareness for people, how to do calls for action, how do people know who you impact in your organization. So stay tuned for a couple more of those trainings. But I think, really getting to that storytelling, looking back on the year and your successes, sharing those out, making sure people know what you do, who you impact. If you've got clients that are willing to share, that's always a really powerful story too. So we know that nonprofits, again, these are kind of wrap up things, but who have successful giving days, they make it their own. you make a plan. So if you don't have a plan yet, that's okay. It's October 1st. You got 2 months, plenty of time to make a plan. You're going to engage your donors. And we've got the prize structure. October 15th, we'll do that in-depth training. The prizes are on the website right now. So if you want to see them, you can just head to sdgives.org, and that is where they are. Work together. This is one thing that we didn't really harp on too much on this training, but something that is really at the center of South Dakota Day of Giving. We truly believe that we are better together, and the more we lift everybody in our nonprofit communities up, the more successful we all are. So I think one of the things we want to think about is it's not a competition, even though there's contests and prizes, but they're just for fun, and they're just to get you thinking. It's about celebrating all the amazing work that our nonprofits do in our community and celebrating each other. There's going to be a couple prizes that are specifically about tag another nonprofit that you love. Who have you worked with this year? Those are things that we really want to focus on. It's not a day of competition. It's really a day of lifting everybody up and everybody in South Dakota up, because we know that we've got people doing awesome work across the state. The more that we hype each other up, the more that we work together for some of these things, the better we can all be. This is a great example. This is from Brookings Gives. This is a few years ago. They did a nonprofit fair that day and had all the nonprofits set up a booth in there, and then invited the community to come and learn all about all the different nonprofits in the community. It's a great way to share with each other, share ideas with each other, share with the community that you're a united front for a better day. We really just see some great gains off of that. So if you're thinking about collaboration, Day of Giving can be a great day. If you did something last year that didn't work, maybe do something different. I love it. Hi, Lindsay's saying, hey, if you want to create a poster or graphic, reach out. So we're already seeing some collaboration in the chat. I love that. That's great. If you see other people in your community, not in your community, in the chat, reach out. If you want to know who else is participating in your community, email at hello@southdakotagives.org. We'd love to connect you with someone in your area or in your issue area who's doing something as well to think about collaboration. And then plan ahead. So you guys are doing great. You're already planning ahead because it's October 1st. You're 2 months out. You're thinking about your campaign. You've already made a great step there. Don't throw it on the pile. I know it's really easy to do, and because it'll be December 2nd before you know it. So do spend some time, think about what this is, talk to your board, sit down and start making a plan about how you're going to integrate it into what you're doing, or do a campaign and make a goal. And so the time to sit down and think about it is now. Again, registration's open till October 24th. And then we will get prizes started on the 20th. The week of the 20th is when that is. Only going to mention the prize pool super briefly. Again, prize pool training October 15th. If you'd like to know more specifics about how those work, they are on our website right now. I mentioned this at the end because we don't want your goal to run a South Dakota Day of Giving campaign to win a prize. Please don't let that be your goal, because again, most of them are random. We want you to enter the prizes. They are set up to help you run your campaign. They're set up to help you start thinking about brainstorming assets and getting your mission and your ideas out there. They're set up around best practices to help strengthen your storytelling, to help strengthen the assets that you have to communicate to your advocates. That's what we see as the real prize in the contest. So they're here, they're great, they're fun. I switched a few of them up this year, so hopefully we've got a few new things to get your brainstorming going. But they are out there. Do watch them because it can be helpful. There are 22 overall prizes. Do not feel like you need to do all of them. That is a lot. A lot of us are one people shows or small groups. Do what makes sense for you. And that's for the whole campaign. Do what makes sense for you. Make it your own. Tailor it to your organization and your goals. Well, that's the end, but I did want to leave a little bit of time if anybody has questions or thoughts or anything. Again, we've got the toolkit online, graphic resources online, and then actual real people, hello@southdakotagives.org. We're happy to answer questions and help you throughout the way. Eric, anything else you want to add at the end of here either, or any questions that anybody has? You see one in the chat. What do people use to live stream? Cheaper, free, easy to use? Minimum number of subscribers. Ooh, that's a great question. I am not, Ashley. Yeah, maybe if you've already looked into some live streaming, maybe you can help us out there. See, collaboration at work already. What have you found, Ashley?
I haven't really started yet. This will be something that we start pretty soon. You could always, if you have a TikTok, if your organization has a TikTok, you could live stream from TikTok. You could actually live stream from Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
If your place has YouTube, you could live stream from there. They're free and really easy to use. I recently, when we had our 10th annual Wags and Waves, I was able to, just get on my phone and live stream and just walked through the pool with all the dogs and all the chaos. Yeah.
Great. Yeah, those are great tips. Yeah, I think there are some free platforms. It's a great question. If we, as you have those, we're always, hopefully this is great, connect you to somebody else who's sort of doing something similar, can give you some ideas as well. If you've got an idea, there's a chance that somebody else has thought it or tried it or has good ideas about how to tweak it too. So absolutely.
So which platforms does South Dakota Day of Giving use?
That's a great question. Yeah, great question. So we are currently on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. We aren't on TikTok this year. I do think it's something we'll have to look at in the future. Those are the 3 platforms that we are mainly pushing things out on, is Instagram, Facebook, and we do LinkedIn as well, are the 3 real main ones that we've got going on there. So if you want to find us, that's where you'll find us. Like I said, I do try as much as I can to like and to share and to hype up everybody's posts as well on those different platforms. All right. Well, it's 12:59. I really want to thank everybody for coming. This is an awesome turnout. It's so exciting to see everybody joining us and getting excited for the Day of Giving. We're really excited for the Day of Giving, December 2nd. In just about 2 months here, we're going to just kick everything off and have an awesome day. In the meantime, reach out, hello@southdakotagives.org. Check out the toolkit at sdgives.com. Follow us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, follow us on LinkedIn. Let us know if you've got questions. October 15th is the prize pool training. If you need more information about that, feel free to email or check out our social media as well. And we'll just see you guys all on December 2nd for the 2025 Day of Giving. So thank you, and thanks for everything you do in your communities every day.